that story you've never been able to tell. When I was 8, Mom and I started this Sunday routine. We'd drive to Oakwood Cemetery with fresh flowers, usually daisies because they were cheap. Mom would scrub Grandpa's headstone with this little wire brush until it shined, and we'd sit there for like an hour talking to him about random stuff. I'd tell him about school, about my friend Kate who always stole my lunch money, about how I failed my spelling test. Mom would update him on work drama and neighborhood gossip. It felt normal, like he was just sitting there listening, every single Sunday for 11 years. The weird part was Mom never talked about Grandpa any other time. No stories about when she was little, no funny memories, nothing. I figured some people just weren't storytellers. When I went away to college, I'd come home every few months and we'd still do our cemetery visits. But sophomore year, I came home for spring break and decided to visit alone while Mom was at work. I wanted to tell Grandpa about this guy I was dating. I was sitting there rambling about college parties when I noticed the headstone right next to his. Caroline James, 1973 to 1975. That name hit me like a truck. Caroline James was my mom's full name before she got married, but the dates were completely wrong. This Caroline died as a toddler in 1975, but my mom was born in 1974, and she was definitely not dead. I took a picture of both headstones and stared at them for like 20 minutes. Same last name, same first name, but this little girl died when she was barely 2. It had to be a coincidence, right? Lots of people have the same names, but I couldn't stop thinking about it. Back at school, I spent hours in the library looking up public records online. I found Caroline James's death certificate from 1975. Cause of death was pneumonia during a blizzard that shut down the whole city for 3 days. The parents were listed as Robert and Helen James. I called Mom that night trying to sound casual. Hey, did you ever know any other Caroline James families when you were little? She laughed it off. Oh, honey, that's like asking if I knew any other Smith families. Super common name, but her voice sounded weird, like when she'd lie about eating the last piece of cake. I kept digging, found newspaper articles about the blizzard of 1975. Apparently the power went out at the children's hospital for 6 hours, and in all the chaos, a bunch of records got messed up. Some kids were moved between wards, some paperwork got mixed up. One article mentioned that several families had trouble locating their children during the confusion. Then I found something that made my stomach drop. A missing person report from 1975. Caroline James, age 2, brown hair, brown eyes, small scar on left knee from falling off tricycle. My mom has that exact scar. She always said she got it from falling off her bike as a kid. I drove home the next weekend with printed copies of everything. When I showed Mom, she went completely white and sat down hard on the kitchen chair. Where did you find this? She whispered. I told her about the cemetery, about the records, about everything. She just stared at the papers for the longest time. I always wondered, she finally said. My parents, your grandparents, they found me wandering around a hospital parking lot during that blizzard. They said I was abandoned, that they saved me, but I always had these weird flashes of memories that didn't match their stories. She started crying. I think I had a sister. I remember playing with another little girl, someone who looked just like me. I thought it was an imaginary friend, but what if it wasn't? That's when it hit me. The grave next to Grandpa's wasn't random. It was her sister, the real Caroline James who died during the blizzard while my mom, also Caroline James, disappeared. My mom wasn't adopted. She was accidentally switched during the chaos and raised by people who thought they were saving an abandoned child. Her real parents probably spent years looking for her, never knowing she was alive and living just 2 towns over with a different family. We went back to the cemetery together the next day. Mom knelt down between both headstones and just sobbed. I'm sorry I never knew, she whispered to the grave. I'm sorry I took your name and your life.